What up, guys? Justin Morgan here, and in this video I want to kind of go over what has been probably one of the most effective ways for me to learn languages that I have come across so far. I've used a lot of different methods. I've been learning languages for probably since around 2016, maybe, is when I kind of first got into language learning, like as a hobby. Of course, I had studied languages. I had studied both Spanish and Hebrew before that in high school, and then for religious studies. But it wasn't like a daily hobby. So around that time, I kind of got into it as a hobby, and it's kind of progressed from there. So I've been doing it for quite a number of years, and I've used various methods. I've started out, I think back then when Duolingo first came out, I tried using it and was like, wow, this is awesome. And then later I was like, wow, Duolingo sucks, and moved on to other things. And now some of these things have actually come full circle because I've just found better ways to use these resources. But this is just the humble Google Translate that you are looking at. But almost all of these sentences actually came from Duolingo. So there's an irony in that. But I want to show you like one thing that I do. So I've always hated using Anki, which I know a lot of people really like. And I'm not saying it's not effective or that it doesn't work or there's not a really good resource. I'm just saying I hate it. So like it's kind of a pain. Like I have a mental dread in using it. So this is a Spanish sentence. It actually came from the show Diableros, which is a Mexican like demon hunter type story. And Elvis is being taken into this bar and led around, and he's a diablero, like a demon hunter. And he says this phrase to someone. He says, "Lo me dijeron." And so I will go to this and listen to this.
Lo me dijeron.
And then I'll move on to the next one. All the rest, that was from Diablero. The rest of these are from Duolingo. So
Hoy no nos duchamos.
this is how I review these sentences.
Nos llamamos Justino y Anita.
That's actually mine and my wife's name. I changed it. It was something else, and it was like Diego and Sofia or something in Duolingo. But I'm reviewing sentences right now.
Mi gato no tiene que lavarse. ¿Por qué no te lavas las manos?
And what I really want you to see from this is how fast it goes. Like I'm going down each of these sentences and reviewing them. I'll do this 4, 5, 6 times a day until I know all of these sentences. These are just what I did, I think, from this morning in Duolingo. So tomorrow, when I've finished this, or when I'm sick of these, I've done them so many times like I could repeat them. I will go then to my internet, wherever that's at, and I will add them as sentences in Spanish. So then I will do them in Anki, but only then. So this is where I actually don't mind doing Anki anymore, is because when I go to do it, I have I've done the sentences that go into Anki so many times that I'm not learning them in Anki. And I think that's where I've done in the past, and that's why I hated it so much, is because it just sucked so bad. But when the sentences that you review in Anki, like cold off the top of your head, and you're really just putting it in there to use the spaced repetition system to keep it kind of locked into your long-term memory or to move it into your long-term memory, and you're not learning them through the exposure that you're getting from Anki, then I don't mind using Anki at all. Like it's actually pretty okay then. So that's something to consider if like you've used Anki before and you're like, I hate this, I can't stand it. Like that's made a big difference for me. So then when I do Duolingo, that's kind of where this whole process initiates is I go to Duolingo, I do one of these, the beginning thing here, whatever this is called. So I'm in section 3, unit 11. I think this was unit 10. So I did unit 10 this morning. I tested out of it. So yesterday I did unit 10. And all of those sentences that you see over here now, they all came from unit 10. And I did the 5 lessons that are in this very first lesson here, I guess. I don't know what you call these. The little circle, the first little star circle. And that's really the only one I did. I did all the lessons that were in that, any vocabulary that I didn't know, any sentences that I didn't know. I went over and I saved them as I did them. So like As an example, I'm going to go do one. Like I'm just going to click review. I don't normally do reviews on these, but just I don't want to go on and do it
Señores,
yet.
¿estas llaves son suyas?
This one's a speaking one, so that's fine. I can do that. Señores, estas llaves son suyas. Okay, so like maybe I don't know what this sentence, right? I want to save some vocabulary here. I'll just save it to my pictures, like save image. All I did was I clicked this button here. Like I don't know what to call this button, but like I'm pressing it now. And you press that button and you click save image. So I click save image it down here and it saves it to my photos. And so then after I've done this, after I've done the whole thing and I've finished that whole first thing, I have, 20, 30 some photos saved in my photo section of my phone. And then I will then take those photos and read them into Google Translate here. So I'm going to use the example of hoy no nos duchamos. I'm going to pretend like that was one of the photos that I saved, and I'm going to go over. Obviously, you want to make sure that it's correct. Like you want to compare it and read it. But I did just a little bit of speaking practice there. I'm doing some reading practice because I'm comparing it to what I did before. And then I'm going to click ir down here at the bottom right, or go. And now you can see there's this little tab up here at the top that's like a bookmark. And right now this sentence is saved. You saw that it was saved before. I saved it. So I'm going to unsave it. All right, that's when I'm done. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to click it to save it. So now it's saved in my list of words that I'm learning. So in the upper left-hand corner there, the far upper left-hand corner, there is the bookmarks tabs. So I'm going to go to that. And you can see I have all my bookmarks saved here. So this is a great way to use Google Translate to save these sentences. And the purpose of Google Translate then is to rehearse those over and over again until they are locked in your memory. Like you have them locked in your short-term memory, and probably they're moving into your long-term memory already, because you will have done them 5, 6, 7 times in a day. And usually I do them twice each time I do them. So like I'm getting a lot of review on these sentences. These are sentences where either there was a grammatical point that like I realized when I was going through them, or it's just new vocabulary that I actually don't know. So yeah, so those combination of things, Anki is not there to learn new sentences. Anki is there to move things that you've learned really well into your long-term memory. Google Translate is great for reviewing these things really quickly. One of the things that I don't like about Duolingo is that it's too slow. If you want to learn a language and you're going through Duolingo, it's great when you first start that new unit because you're being exposed to a bunch of new stuff. So it's fine to go slow. You're getting some exposure to new stuff. But then once you're wanting to continue reviewing that, Duolingo then slows down. So that's where I put all this stuff over into Google Translate then, and then Duolingo is not there to rehearse those sentences. Duolingo is there just to learn the new sentences. So the next day, after I've reviewed all those sentences a ton of times, which is what I did today, I came down here to to the next unit, and I clicked jump here. So tomorrow, I'll go through this first one that you see here in the section in the unit 11, talk about school. And I will go through those 5 lessons there. You can see it's like throbbing with 5 different sections around it. So I'll do all 5 of those and save those sentences and rehearse them and put them into Google Translate so that I can remember them and memorize them. And, once I've done that, put them into Anki, which that takes a day. That's a day's worth of work. It takes a half hour to go through probably those 5 lessons there, if that's about 6 minutes or so per lesson. And then maybe I spend 1, 2, 3 minutes each time I go back to review all of those again throughout the day. And every day you go in and you review the stuff that's in Anki, but it's really quick because it's all stuff that you've previously had memorized or almost memorized. And so, that's not very long. That's only a few minutes to go through click through your Anki reviews. But so tomorrow I will go through all these, save those, begin memorizing them and putting them into Google Translate and do all that. And then the next day, I will not go through all of the rest of these circles, because it's the same vocabulary, same sentences, a lot of the same stuff that you will get from this first section. So most of the new material you're going to get from the first section, or you could go up here and click on the notebook section and actually go down and review the vocabulary lesson. This is all, I usually read this once or twice each time I do one of these. So this is good stuff to learn and to note. I'm not like studying it, but I at least read it and kind of get the idea of what it says. And then, the second day I will actually go and test out of this section. So, that's kind of how I do that. I think that's a pretty beneficial way. I think it keeps things moving along really well, and it's kind of helped me hit a really good stride. So, I get about a half hour of this stuff per day on average, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. Obviously, the day where I'm reviewing and testing out, I'm not really doing that much with this. That's more of a day of like, less than a half hour definitely is being spent on that. That's a day of more of the reviews and stuff and putting more of the content into Anki and moving it around. But I'm always speaking, reading, typing, and it's going back and forth. It's this process that has you doing a lot of different functions. The other thing that I do that I think is really important is the other side of the coin, and that is just active exposure to the language through immersion. I'm listening to YouTube videos by Spanish speakers, and I'm watching television on Netflix. So I watched Fear the Walking Dead last night before I went to bed. Today I watched the show that I just mentioned, Diablero, Fear the Walking Dead, Money Heist. I watched an episode of Club de Cuervos, or it looks like I watched 2 episodes. The Roman Empire, the Dungeon, Delicious Dungeon. I wasn't that into that, to be honest. It was kind of more of a kid's show. I wasn't feeling it. Someone remove it from my row. But anyways, so you guys kind of get the idea. These are all these practices are important. All of them contribute to learning the language, and I've found that it's a really good mix of things that help me go back and forth between different streams of how to use the language, the different threads that connect a language together. These are all useful, and they're all being implemented in doing this. So those are the big ones anyways. One other key thing that I do a lot is I will have ChatGPT when sometimes I'll go through Duolingo and I'll do the lessons, and I won't actually get that many cards because a lot of it will be review type stuff, or it'll be stuff that I already know, and so maybe I won't have a lot of cards. So that's fine. That's kind of a good rest day. So then on those days I'll go to ChatGPT or something like that, and I'll actually ask it to write a story and at a certain level, and I'll read stories from ChatGPT then, and that's good. If you use Link, Link's a great resource for reading and getting some of those things. So any of these are all great resources and great ways to continue with that. And these are things that are applicable in every single language. These are not Spanish dependent. Obviously, I'm focusing on Spanish right now, but these are not things that are specific to Spanish. So you can use any of these tools, any of these resources for any language that you want to study, and they're all going to kind of have the same thing. They might require a little bit more effort on the initial part where if it has a different alphabet. Like I had to learn the Greek alphabet before I really started using Greek a lot. I had to learn the Hebrew alphabet before I started using Hebrew a lot. And that is one area where I feel like the use at that time of Duolingo was really beneficial, was that it forced you to use your keyboard to type things out. So I learned to type in Hebrew and I learned to type in Greek. And I feel like now I haven't used a computer for these languages in a long time, but I feel like Duolingo doesn't make you do that anymore. So I don't think that's a great thing. I really liked that it made me learn to use the keyboard. So I had to find a keyboard of those languages and print it out and do it. But, so that's something to be mindful of. You guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you in a video coming soon.